everyone. Welcome to Inside Talk Show. I'm Karla Elizondo, and today I will be having a conversation with an accomplished actor, an entrepreneur running one of the biggest, most successful showcases in all of Los Angeles, and most importantly, a mentor and a friend to me, Mr. Jeremy Luke. Welcome, Jeremy.
Karla, how you doing?
How are you? How are you dealing with all of this?
I'm good. I'm better. I've been running every day, so I'm a lot better.
Yeah, physically running?
Yeah, running, meditating. I run, I meditate. I do a couple of things. Run, meditate, sit at the desk for an hour. I have like a little bit, like a set regimen. And I moved to the Valley. Yeah, I was living on Beechwood Drive for 10 years, but it just got so hectic. So I was like, I'm out. And then I moved here. I live in Valley Village now.
Welcome to the Valley. I am the lady of the Valley.
You are?
I am. No, I used to live in Hollywood. I call it the hub.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, I used to shop at that Rock and Roll Ralph's. Oh Lord.
That place is insane.
I know. But when I was in my 20s, you know?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, when you're young like that, it's okay. I lived in the Valley. I lived here in the Valley from 2000 to 2010. Then from 2010 to last month, I lived in Hollywood.
That's right. It's been 20 years. You did post something on your Instagram about happy 20th anniversary, Jeremy.
Thank you. I know. It's been 20 years. I
That's
came out when I was 22.
Wow. From where did you hail?
Staten Island.
Staten Island. You do have, I love your accent.
I have this exotic accent still.
Yeah, that's right.
Did
you say you were Puerto Rican or Italian? Or remember, you're like, people don't know what I am.
I'm Puerto Rican and Italian. I have like just a funny, I'll tell you about it sometime, but I have a funny story about ancestry.com. Like I just found out I was Italian like 4 years ago.
Are you serious? I did the 23andMe too.
Oh, you did?
Yes. I thought I was more Mexican than I was, but I'm more Spanish. I'm like 80% European, and I was like, I'm only 13% Native American.
You know what's funny about that is like that's because the Spaniards conquered the world 500 years ago when they went to Puerto Rico and they hooked up with, I don't know how to say it.
They hooked up with everybody.
Yeah, so they went to Puerto Rico because my mom is 100% Puerto Rican, but a lot of my background is like European, mostly European, a little bit Native American, but mostly European.
Yeah. Do you have Spanish in you?
Yeah, a lot of Spanish. Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
It is kind of interesting. And then you have like, did you see the cousins and all that kind of stuff come up?
Oh yeah, the cousins come up, and almost every other week I say, you have new DNA relatives, or the thing alerts me that I do. I mean, it's always like minimal, like your fourth cousin removed or whatever, but there's a couple of my cousins that are first cousins that I'm like, oh, look at them, they're on there. So it's really interesting.
That's how I met my brother and my sister.
From that DNA test? Are you serious? Jeremy? Really? That's interesting. Was it
brother, sister, whole new family, whole new side of the family?
Wow. That's
scandalous.
That's some juicy scandalous stuff. Did you have no idea and you just literally found out from there?
I had my real father was my mother's ex-boyfriend for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I kind of had a suspicion, mm-hmm. but I didn't really know. And then with the whole ancestry.com thing, like my brother came up. He's got the same name as my father, my real father, my biological father. So that came up, and I was like, it said first cousin because we have different mothers. Yeah. Shit happens. It's 2020, right?
I was going to say I'm calling it the age of transparency. I mean, not just from all the, gadgets we have and cameras that are everywhere. We're on Zoom. People are getting caught naked up on Zoom.
I heard about that. The CNN anchor.
There's been a few things. Many teachers being caught in bathrobes. I mean, trust me, that's not the first story. That's probably the most, scandalous, but yeah, it's going on. There's some weird voyeuristic stuff going on with these cameras and all that. But like I said, I think we're in a age of transparency. People can't hide anything anymore, even if they try. Everything's in the cloud, even if you try to delete it.
That's so funny. It's crazy. It's like good and it's bad. I don't know. It's like,
Well, I think
it's funny. Right, go ahead.
I would say it's forcing everybody to kind of get a little bit more honest and have, kick in that conscious.
Yeah, you have to really be careful of what what you put out there and stuff. I mean, it's funny because you haven't done the social media thing.
I know I'm new to this and half of it's your fault. I would just like to tell all
I
of
was the
my,
one who told you. I was like, you need to get on Instagram.
that's what I said. So Inside Talk Show, anybody who's listening, I have Jeremy Luke to thank. I chatted with him at the beginning of this year and he was like, girl, you need to get up on the social media yesterday, pronto. So I said, okay, aye, sir. And I did it. So
Are you on Twitter now too?
No, I'm on, I have YouTube and Instagram for now. Oh, and I have Facebook. I joined Facebook in August. Yeah, I'm learning it all and it's so new to me, new territory, but you've been on social media since the get-go?
I think I was on I was been on since MySpace.
Was Tom your friend? Wasn't that everybody's friend?
I was friends with Tom. I still have a MySpace. Do you have MySpace?
I know, I'm telling you, I have never had it. I will never forget. It was like circa 2000, 2001, I think. I don't know when MySpace came out. Was that it?
2000, about 2004 or 5.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Wait. Sorry, maybe you're right. I don't know.
No.
2004. I signed up in 2004 or 2000. I think I signed up 2005.
Yeah, because I think yeah, that sounds right. But I do.
That was MySpace.
MySpace, yes, was first. And I remember my friends getting on it. And I just remember I didn't really know what it was, but I wasn't interested and I never got one. And then I remember the summer of 2006 was when Facebook really hit the scene. And I still was like, what is that? There was this girl and I was like, what's Facebook? Is that a yearbook for your school? Because I think it was first for colleges and then they opened it up for everybody. But yeah, I've shared. I've just always been, although I'm outgoing in my real life, like I'm very private and not shy, but just private. But now I see this as a tool, to chat with you, to talk with people, to learn for myself, and just interview cool people. And
it's definitely a great way to reach. I mean, for something like this, I mean, social media could be a great thing or a bad thing. I've been off. I don't know if I mentioned, but I've been off for 8 days, and it's been awesome.
Yeah,
it's been great for me. It
Yeah.
feels like I've been off social media. I mean, with the media and all that, I think I watched Biden's speech, which I really like. But other than that, I've been off. I haven't been, which has been like a sense of relief.
Yeah, good for you. Last week I was so full, my cup runneth over with good work, and I couldn't follow it either. I really couldn't. And so it was a blessing. And for social media, I knew, I was like, okay, I have to have boundaries. So I did from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then not on the weekends. It's like, if anything's important, I'll answer it Monday morning. So I really need to stick to that. But yeah, it could be addicting. It's triggers that dopamine and all those addictive hormones and all that stuff. But yeah, I love all the work you do. You're hilarious. You are ridiculous. You're Jeremy, your Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Where do you post most of your stuff? Or if you're off social media now, where can people see your stuff?
I just post stuff I'll just post whatever I like on Instagram and a little bit on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook much anymore. I don't go on Twitter really at all, but just mostly Instagram.
Yeah.
But I haven't been on. I'm off for a month, so I'll be back on December 1st for a minute.
Okay, so on this show, since you've been away for a while, I kind of like to talk mental health perspective, how we implement things to keep, our mental hygiene going. And you already mentioned, you run, you meditate, and you kind of have a routine, which is so important. I think a disciplined routine where you do your self-care, you take care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually. And I also like to touch on when we were younger, kind of when those programmings came in, mindset, our beliefs, early beliefs, how they have either served us or held us back when we got older. So what was 8-year-old Jeremy like? And what kind of world did you live in? What was your mindset then?
Oh man, when I was 8, 9, I was very angry. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I was very angry, and I had a lot going on internally. And I think my parents did a great job with me, but I just had like a lot of anger going on. I mean, at home, especially with my parents, and I did not like. I had a real problem with discipline. I had a real problem with being told what to. In school, I was okay. 8, 9, I was okay. But at home, it was like, don't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. Like I was a pretty rough kid, and I would be out. I'd spend a lot of time. I mean, kids these days, there's no, I don't know if they don't really like hang out on the street and stuff. But I spent a lot of time. My parents were great. I mean, they had rules and boundaries for me and stuff. But I spent a lot of time in my neighborhood on the street and playing with friends. I was an only child, so there was, I didn't. I always felt like alone, a little bit alone, and especially in the evenings. I always had a lot of alone time. So when I got older, I didn't like to be alone. So then I used to go out, basically the day that I graduated high school, I went out, I started going out the day that I graduated high school every single night.
Wow.
And drinking and smoking weed and all that kind of stuff. And I did that for years, because I just didn't like that void of being by myself. Like I just did not like being by myself at night.
Same for me. I said in a previous episode that I had a life transition. Yeah, home life was great, but I had to homeschool in 6th grade when I was 11, and it was a real shift, like a sudden shift, and I wasn't aware, but that was the first time I ever got depressed because everything was taken away, and I got really inside, and I had like an existential crisis. Like what's the meaning of life? I was real quiet and I went inside, and I shared that, the first time I drank, I was 14. And the moment that hit me, I was like, oh, sweet relief. This is life. You know what I mean? And so that became a coping skill for me. And it kind of sounds like that was similar for you.
Very much so. I mean, I had my first drink at 14. I think I was 14 years old. I drank a little bit. It was the same thing. Like, oh, this is what it is. And then I didn't like drinking so much because I got sick. So I started smoking weed, and that was good till about from 16 to like 18. But then like the panic attack started. You're like paranoid and shit. You know what I mean? And then I went back to booze. As soon as I went back to booze in like senior year in high school. That's when I really started drinking. And then like as soon as I graduated, it was on.
Yeah, game on.
Game on. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
And I would say for me, as like I moved out to LA when I was 22, and I started in production more behind the scenes. Yeah, same with you. And I would say that it comes with the lifestyle. It's socially acceptable to go out, to party, just to get blitzed. And it helped when you had a win and you celebrated, but then it helped when you lost and you wanted to just drown out your feelings. It was like drinks were everywhere for everything, for always. And it's a depressant, obviously, just when you study the mind and hormones and what it does to your body, it's a depressant. And for me, it was very much that. And if I drank too much, it would cause panic attacks, anxiety. I tried to smoke weed a couple times. Ooh, did not go well. I could not. I can't. This can't handle that. Sometimes like I wish I could smoke weed, but I can't.
It was like the California weed. I was like, oh my God.
Yes. Like get me. I would be the one to be like, excuse me, 911, I'm dying. Take me to the emergency room. Yeah. It's embarrassing. But yeah, so I realized that it really got to a point where I was, doing the same thing. It was like Groundhog's Day. I was doing all this in my head because, that's the thing. Drinking gives you courage. It makes you feel big and all, when you're doing it, but then you wake up to reality and it's like, what am I really doing with my life? And I shared a little bit about that story, but it's been a couple of years now. I just was like, boom, let's get that out of here. And it really was, like I say, everyone has that one degree in their life that holds them back. And it's different for everybody. Would you say that was it for you, or how did you kind of?
Well, for me, drinking, like I would always do it in my 20s. I was drinking a lot of like beer and stuff, but I always had like, the good thing for me is I didn't get as lost as everybody else did. With sometimes people get lost in booze and drugs and stuff. I had a purpose. You know, I really, really I had a purpose and I had a drive, which was my acting career, and which was, you know, trying to make it as an actor was like my huge thing. And all through, you know, for the past 20 years, especially the first like 13 years, you know, were real like driven.
Mm.
So the truth of the matter is I wouldn't like, I was very disciplined with that kind of thing. So I wouldn't go out and drink, and if I had an audition or something that would always come 1st. But that was always much like a big part of my lifestyle was like booze and like waking up and dragging. But it got to dragging myself through the day. But when you're, you know, when you're 35 years old, dragging yourself through the day isn't as simple as when you're 23, 24 years old. Like it doesn't work, especially if now you're down in Jameson and beer and all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? So it becomes something else.
And that's the thing. I think that just if you were to say, I think you did share in a post, your success over the past, you know, 20 years of being in LA, of being not just an actor, but you've really created such a special space for actors, managers, agents to join together, to network, for creators and artists to really showcase their talent. And I've been to them. You have such a gift of making it fun, because any actors out there, you know how horrible auditions and showcases can be. And when you go to Jeremy showcases, it's like a party. He makes you like reconnect, forget the outside world, just dance and have music. And you really prep us, and you really just get us focused and really encourage us to showcase our best. You know, you're like, don't bring the crap where you're going to be crying and bring down the room. Really bring yourself and uplifted. And not, it wasn't just fun to be, I rose to the occasion and I wrote my own thing and I had a blast, and then I enjoyed everybody else's too. It wasn't like a depressed fest of like all these actors, you know, taking out all their aggression on the stage. Yeah. So when did you start those?
I started them in 2009. What happened was I was going to showcases too. And the showcases that I were going to, they just sucked. I mean, there's no way to put it. Like, they just sucked, and they were really expensive, really super expensive. So, you know, and it just didn't seem fair. It didn't seem fair that you had to work a month or 3 weeks to get in front of like some people and industry people. I also, like, when I was younger, I used to promote nightclubs and stuff. So I understood, you know, I bring music into my show. Like there's wine afterwards. People are hanging out. Like, I understood the camaraderie and, you know, try to make things fun and try to give people a good experience, because maybe they leave with a best friend or a new friend, or, oh, you're my friend. You know what I mean? Like, I made so many relationships from the showcase. So it's not just like agent manager, you know what I mean? Like,
no, you really create, like, I don't know. It's like a bonding event. It's a real, you create a very friendly atmosphere. So You're right. Like, even I didn't care if anybody called me, which nobody did, but it's like, it was fun. And I felt I left there as a better performer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's just the experience. Like, there's also like just the experience of, you know, just getting out there, getting your feet wet, like hearing the seminar. I'll teach the seminar and stuff. Like, you get a lot out of it. And I just started it because I didn't even have a job. Like, it was Labor Day 2009. I was delivering food in the mornings to like medical supply places, and I had like a few odd jobs. I was working for Marlboro, like I was one of those guys that were in like bars and stuff, running people. It was real like lowball shit, you know what I mean? It was terrible. I shouldn't have been doing that, but I had to make money, like, you know, so that was my day job. But I remember it was Labor Day, and I was just I was in my friend's backyard with my other friend Ty, and we just started talking about it. I was like, why can't it be good? And maybe I could do it. And then it basically turned into like me doing it and calling a friend with a theater. But it's funny because I think of like some people, like, the ideas that could have just been a fleeting idea. That could have been like, I can't do it. That's
how ideas come.
Yeah, and it was like making that phone call. It was making that phone call to the friend saying, "Hey, I want to rent the theater from you. Do you have this date?"
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. Bye.
What did I just do?
I gotta get some actors and I gotta get some agents to come to this showcase. It was that. It was like just making those moves, making a couple of phone calls. The phone calls that were hard. It's the same way I started Small Shots, which is my show on Amazon.
Yes.
Just making the phone call, like, "Hello, what are we doing?" You know,
Yes.
doing it. Doing it is like half the battle because you can think and have ideas and shit till you blue in the face. We know tons of people that have great ideas.
And they're all going to go in the graveyard. They will go with them till the day they die. And this is what we were discussing before we started today. There's a difference between daydreaming, wishing, hoping. But if you do not have a specific goal that you take action on, good luck, buddy, because that's what the only thing that works. When you look at successful people, they hang out with other successful people. And it's like, how, oh, they're lucky. They have something we don't have. No, they just get their ass off at the couch and make a phone call or do something. It's like, it starts with something small and it's not going to feel right. You're never going to feel ready. It's not going to fall into your lap like you're not going to get a package in the mail that has everything planned out with a guarantee that no, just do it. And I encourage, please take Jeremy's lead. And if you have any inspiration as an artist, as a musician, I don't care what you do. If you want to go to med school, just take the first step. And I'm so passionate because I'm yelling at myself because I didn't do it for so long, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see a lot of that. Just people not, and look, you don't have to get, that's the thing is people want to get it perfect. Like, I didn't get it perfect. I didn't know what I was doing. Scenes were 20 minutes long. It was like a fucking mishmash. People were coming. The agents were canceled. I never dealt with an agent cancel. It was just a mishmash of shit. It was a learning experience. But yeah, it is about just making the call, doing it, doing something. You know, a lot of times, even with my showcase, the thing that with my showcase, like, oh, nothing happened out of the showcase. I didn't meet an agent or a manager, and I emailed them. Nobody emailed me back. But sometimes it's like I'll tell people like it's just about like doing this one, right? You do this one, and next thing you know, like you're on a path. Like whether you do the showcase again or you don't, you're on a path now to get an agent or a manager. And sometimes people will go and be like, "Hey, I emailed the agents or I met an agent in the street." It's because they're putting it out there and stuff, you know.
Exactly.
And that's what happens. But people will just stop. Or if what happens in LA too is what happens with a lot of people is like they get turned down or somebody. It happened to me recently. Like I read some stuff of mine to a professional writer, and I read him the story, like 2 pages out of a story that I was doing, and it wasn't done. And he was like, "No, that's not a story. That's not a story." And I was like, "Oh shit," you know. And I put it down, and I put it down for months.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's like the recovery time or something. And this is me, like that was May, and I stopped writing. Yeah. And yesterday I bought this this keyboard.
Oh, nice.
So I could hook it up to my iPad so I could start back up again.
Good for you.
So we went 6. So listen, I stopped for 6 months because this person put a limiting belief on me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like there's people that like that happens a lot, like where people just spread a little bit of magic, and he didn't know. He had good intentions. He didn't know, but you know that happens a lot where people throw a little sprinkle, like, "Oh, you didn't. Oh, like you know, you did the showcase, nobody liked you, or you know, you didn't get the audition, or you know, I had an acting teacher tell me a long time ago." When I was younger, like you don't do accents. You should not do an accent. I don't want to see you doing an accent. So I stopped doing accents. I understood as I got older why he didn't want me to do accents at the time, but accents were gone with me for 15 years. So there's a lot of people like that happens to, and the you know, what do I call it? The recuperation time, like, you know, some people will not get an
push down. You got knocked down. It took you 6 months to get back up.
It took me 6 months to get back up. I had an ex-girlfriend. She was up for a very big part. She didn't get it. It was a recurring for this TV show that was going to happen in New York. She was supposed to get it. She went down for a year.
Wow. 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 That's the power. That is the power of a thought or of a emotional impact, like a situation that impacted you in a place. And I call it our soil. How are you cultivating your soil? So whatever state if I have that good soil that only good seeds can get into, that
Mhm.
rejection will just literally, my soil will be like, boop, bad seed. That's a weed that I do not need. Okay. So
Smart that you understand that.
yes, we have to cultivate it every day. And by doing that, there's so many things you can do. But I remember sitting in a very, it was a very popular Hollywood, Los Angeles acting class, where a lot of people were working actors. And one of my friends, he was sitting in kind of one of the advanced classes and I was helping out. And the teacher, I think, just laid into him and kind of was like, I don't know if he was trying to cut him to size or I don't know what the issue was, but he's like, kind of like that. If you do that, you're never going to succeed. And I was just watching him, but I knew he had such stamina of soul. He had such good cultivated soil. 2 months later, he booked or he's working on series regularly now. And I think back to that moment and I'm like, thank God he had the stamina and the cultivation of
Yeah.
that big man, huge, influence could not penetrate his wall, which I thought was awesome. It was such a learning moment for me.
Yeah, because it's true. I mean, and then some people say this for different, my acting teacher at the time, he didn't say it to cut me down because he was a great teacher for me. He was somebody that I love and adore. But I understand why he said it now at the time because he wanted me to work on some different stuff. But, I even have to watch what I say to people and say, hey, listen, this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
Because some people will take, especially actors or whoever, they'll take a mentor's opinion or somebody who's in casting or somebody who's an agent or a manager and be like, that person's been around and that person says that, I'm not good enough if I'm not in the union. So yeah, I guess I gotta try to like stop what I'm doing for a year and try to get into the union. I
Yeah.
see it happen all the time. Like people put their stuff on other people and it's just opinions, especially in Hollywood. It's not like, they're just people's opinions.
Absolutely. And it's the power of suggestion. It's like, what are you letting into your mind? And you have to always build yourself up. And this is where intuition, you always have to know your internal why. Like, listen to that inner voice, because even though you can say, like in May, that somebody said it wasn't really a story, whatever happened kicked in the past month, you're like, well, you know what? I'm gonna give this another go. Something in you, because it's there. It's not gonna stop until that gets out of you. That story is gonna come out of you, whether it comes with a bad attitude or a good attitude. You might as well have it be a good attitude, because now I want to hear, you owe that story to me. You owe that story to the world, because it's a seed, it's there, and it's coming out. It can come out in a bad way or a good way. You might as well pick, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it too is like, people ask me because I'm not the most talented actor. I'm pretty good, but I'm not like the most. But the thing that I have that I've had is like that even getting back to. So getting back to basics, right? Is like you could get steered off, but like getting back to the discipline of sitting at my desk, or when Karla says, there's a lot of me saying yes now, or Karla says, hey, can you do this thing at 1 o'clock on Monday? And I'm like, yes, that's part of me doing or giving back.
Yeah.
And giving back is a huge one that, unfortunately, people in this business and a lot of businesses think that if you're giving back, that means something's gonna take
Taking
from my
away. Yeah. Givers get, people. Givers get.
Yeah, who said that? Zig Ziglar. You got to give. You get anything you want. You could get anything you want if you. I don't even know. I'm going to mess up the quote. You could have anything you want if you help others get what they want.
Absolutely. If you help people get what they want, you will get everything you want. You know what I mean? And it's that abundance poverty mentality. And I kind of, for me, you mentioned it. It's like the pie. Everyone has that pie mentality. Oh, someone gets their piece of the pie, like as if there's one pie. I have my own pie. Karla got her whole goddamn pie. Ain't no one taken from this pie. I got the whole thing. No one can take, amateurs compete. I love saying that. amateurs compete. The
Yeah.
only person I compete with is who I was yesterday.
Mm,
Amateurs compete, professionals compete with themselves. You know,
yeah,
my mom,
absolutely.
if I ever get caught up in comparing myself with anybody else, it doesn't matter. They're running their own race. They're doing their own game. They have their whole life situation that I know nothing about. I will never compare myself. You know, I mean, of course I'm human and I'll get, you know, if I have a bad day, but I will always come back to, Karla, you have everything you need and you don't need to take from anybody else and nobody can take from you. So that's really where I try to stay.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that's where people go off. In my opinion, that's where a lot of people go off track with a lot of businesses and stuff. Like, you know, because I've had a career, especially over the last 8 years or so. It's like a lot of the things that I've done for people has come back. You know, I have a friend, my friend Liam Fountain. I tell this story a lot. He's an actor also. We were roommates in like 2004, and I had an audition for a Taco Bell commercial. And I told him, I said, "Hey man, come to this Taco Bell commercial with me." He's like, "I just woke up." I'm like, "No, that's the look. The bedhead looked like a mess. You look great. Put on your leather jacket." He looked very vintage. He's like, "Okay." He came. There was like 200 people. He booked the commercial. Which was my commercial. 13 years, which I was happy. I was ecstatic. He was my friend. If I'm not going to get it, like, I would love for him to get it. You know, 10 years later, he calls me. He says, "Listen, I heard about this role for this TV show called Mob City for the role of Mickey Cohen, who was this, you know, this Jewish gangster in the 40s from LA. He's like, you need to call your people and get in for it."
Wow.
I said, "Thank you so much." Click, call my people, and I got it.
Oh, that's so awesome. See?
I have some more of those, you know, so it comes back, you know, it comes
Always.
back. I wasn't doing it I just did
it. Of course.
And he was like, you know, but an abundance thing, you know, it's like, why not? Like, why not help others?
That's kind of leading into my next topic is mindset. How you said when you were a kid, you know, you were pissed, you were angry, whatever was going on at home, you just really, you know, you had to protect yourself, right? And like anger is one of the best shields and guards to kind of push everything away.
Yeah.
And how has your mindset shifted and what were the catalysts behind that? Is that something you had to learn the hard way, or did you learn it in a positive way with a mentor? How do you have such a positive mindset?
Okay, so what happened to me was I was really bad in school, right? I went to 5 high schools in 4 years. I was just smoking weed. I was getting kicked out. I wasn't like fighting or anything, but I was so like stoned out of my face the whole time in high school. But what happened to me was, and that's like a thing that happens to a lot of kids. They tell you you're not good enough. You know, I had great parents. My mom's an artist. So she always kind of pushed me in this direction of like, hey, you know, but what happened with me was when I got out of high school, because I just knew school wasn't going to be my thing. I went to a little bit of college. I started promoting nightclubs. And I realized that I was really good, kind of like the showcase, at putting people together, getting people in. I mean, you don't know how many friends I have that introduced them to their wives, or they met their wives through me.
You're a bridge, Jeremy. You were a bridge.
Right? I was a bridge. I was very much a bridge. Like I had a gift for that. I still have the gift for it. So I understood my gift. So I was making money when I was like 20 years old. I was making a lot of money because I started promoting these clubs. At the same time, though, so I started finding a purpose, but I knew it wasn't that. But at the same time, I had a girlfriend break up with me when I was 19 years old. And it was devastated for a couple of days. And what happened
of days.
Well, what happened was right after that, a couple of days, because the day after, you know, I was such in a dark, low place. Somehow I got my hand on a Tony Robbins book, Awaken the Giant Within.
There you go.
And I just breezed through this book. And from that, things really started to change. I went to a seminar when I was really young. So it happened when I was young, like, because when you're 19, 20, 18, 19, 20, up until probably 25 years old, your mind is very impressionable. So I got into this really positive thing. And look, because the truth of the matter is, I'm not like that. Like, I have to condition myself and work to be like this person. It doesn't just come. Like I said, I have to run every day. I have to work out. I have to get it out of my system. I have to meditate. There's things that I have to do. So during that time, in those early years, that's when things, and I was actually taking acting classes young. And after that, Tony Robbins, I was like, this acting thing, I want to get out of the nightclubs and I really want to get into the acting thing. And that's when things just started to really make a turn for me.
That's amazing. And I think it's the personal development. It's studying yourself, right?
Yeah.
You got a hook into yourself. And I think that's what propelled you and gave you, like you said, that drive. You're like, ooh, for that first, 9, 13, whatever years, there was that drive. And I think it was because you did connect with that chord of going inside, studying yourself, understanding the potential, and being around that positivity, the positive mindset, because you're absolutely right. I think we come stock. Like, when you used to back in the day buy like a Honda or Toyota, it comes with cloth seats, roll down windows, like it comes stock. But you don't want that, right? Hopefully you want the automatic windows, you want the leather seats. You got to work for it. It's, we're given a life, beautiful life, wonderful, but we can make it as great as we want. And I was like you, it wasn't until I wish I got it at that age. Well, I kind of did. It was like 2006 when I was like, I mentioned, like, I saw The Secret for the first time. But that was something that I had already been doing. Like I said, I was like, yeah, okay. It resonated so deeply because I'm like, dude, this is amazing. People are like talking about what I did in my head since I was young, but I didn't really take it serious. I did not take it serious and, got a lot of backlash, like I said, but it's like, duh, if you don't do it, it don't work. So it wasn't until I was at a dark place a few years ago. And that's when you can't lie to yourself anymore. You're like, what can I do? What can I do? What am I doing to help myself or put positivity in? And I think there's such a fallacy of like, well, the crap happens all the time, so the good must happen. No, you kind of got to go look for it. And people think, oh, it's a lot of work. Well, no, it becomes good work. You fall in love with it and you fall in love with the whole process. So I think everybody finds it at different times.
Yeah, and I think like, getting back, because I go through, my father just passed away 3 months ago. So, I go through really tough times too. So it's like just getting back to the person who I want to be and who I am. And, like you said, the visualization stuff and staying in the positive, like, because it's hard. I mean, especially COVID, all this shit, like I was going down rabbit holes too of like just dark times, but like you have to combat it. You have to get yourself, you got to pick yourself up, and you could take you 3 years to pick yourself up, or you could start doing it like in 3 days.
Yeah. You got to get a tool belt.
You got to get a tool belt, and I have tools now that I use that march me forward. And, I have a whole thing that I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said you meditate. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, and part of it is like discipline.
Yes.
And the discipline to do it. Like there's a lot of actors that aren't disciplined. I literally have to come back and sit at my desk again for a couple of hours every day and set alarms on my phone and do that kind of to get work done. And if I don't know what I'm doing, I create work. I create it. I just start calling, making moves, you know what I mean? Like just start creating my own shit.
Have you read The War of Art?
It's funny you said that because my friend Sonny Marinelli, great actor, he sent me the picture. He's like, have you read this book? So I started watching the Cliff Notes last night on YouTube.
Dude, listen to the audio book. It is, the author reads it. Hilarious, Jeremy. And he talks exactly what you said. He goes, sit your ass at your desk. You got to block out the time as an artist. You have to, or you're going to get nowhere. And I think that's the thing with artists, me included, like the discipline. Like how many times have you heard an actor come to, they spend all the money on the pictures and they spend the money on the showcase and they come to like, oh, I'm not off book. It's like, what? Could you not have spent the time to memorize this? It's like, that's the key. Just set yourself free through discipline, through routine, through this daily study. Invest. You're going to get out what you put in. So like, what are you waiting for? You know, I think it's the fear of like, well, if I go all in and I fall flat on my face, then I'm really screwed. So I'll just kind of put my toe in. So if I mess up, you know, it's good. I'm cool. I didn't really.
It happens all the time. And there's a lot of like, the difference between my acting coach used to tell me this, Joe Police. He said the difference between an amateur and a professional is the professional does it even when they don't want to do it.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean? Even when I'm not in love with acting, I still do it.
Yeah.
I still, put on like, let's go. I'm not perfect. I slip up. I do. I can't say that I don't, but there's a lot of people, there's a lot of actors out here that I just don't feel it.
Yeah. They wait for the inspiration. They wait for it. It's like working out.
I'm just not feeling it.
Gym, but I'm happy when I walk in the door.
Right. Not feeling it. Just first, the best thing to do is just start putting yourself, making moves. Just start doing it.
Best advice. Yeah. Discipline. It's like giving yourself a command and following it. That's what discipline is. Just do it.
And like being in the car too, like even like in the car and stuff, there's a lot of stuff that you could listen to. Like even listening, somebody's going to listen to this and be pumped up. And I would just like listen to stuff. Like I would listen to Tony Robbins and like, or I would hear somebody speak, or it would be like my acting teacher and he would talk to me, and that would carry me on. Like I would take that gem of whatever he said, and that would carry me on for a week, 2 weeks. Then I would just like find stuff on YouTube, like people that have done it, actors, creators, Bob Proctor. And then you would take something that they said, and that'll take me on. And then in my car right now, like I listen to like, self-help stuff all the time because everybody's driving in the car in LA. So that's what I'm just pumping myself through. Like I listen to this stuff over and over. I just pump it in my head.
Exactly. It's brainwashing, and people be like, oh, you crazy. But it's like, honey, you're doing it anyway. And if you're going to brainwash, you might as well pick the soap. Mine's going to smell real good and I'm going to pick it instead of letting the world pick it, because we truly are. Every time you look at your phone, you're getting messages. You literally are receiving. When you drive past billboards, there's millions in Los Angeles. You are literally receiving information from your 5 senses, and it is just floating right past into your subconscious mind. Because how really aware are you? We're not like, I'm going to be conscious of everything that's going on. No, we have information coming at us 10,000 miles a minute. I might as well take initiative. And I'm like you, I have it chock full every morning. I had an instance, which I was, like you said, I'm not perfect. I do this every day, but I found myself in a slump. I was waking up early, going to the gym, but I was just in a shitty mood, man. I was just like, God, when is the good going to happen? And I was just like, dude, what are you doing to put good in? So I was like, I made it a point for 1 week. I woke up every day. I had a playlist of positive, inspirational things on like motivational. They're all over YouTube for free. So I was like, I'll play it the first thing in the morning. And I did. Ooh, it was like night and day. I was like walking on clouds. I'm like, this is the power of messaging.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, it sounds like, you can watch the news all day.
That's brainwashing.
Or you could read a great book that, the War of Art or something, or listen to something like that. Yeah. And you're going to get two different feelings.
Absolutely. And let me just preface, when I say brainwashing, I don't mean brainwashing in the bad way that people can attribute to it. It's just like, what are you washing your brain with? What is coming in? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Information always. You mentioned that you meditated. Have you done that for a long time? Has that been something? Are you like spiritual? Do you really do that? Or
yeah, I do it. I've been meditating for 4 years now. Since almost 4 years. I've been doing, I practice transcendental meditation.
Ooh, I'm looking into that.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, they charge you to go to the thing, but you can find it on YouTube. There's like a way that, this meditation stuff isn't as deep. They basically give you a mantra, and you say the mantra over and over in your head you're supposed to meditate for 20 minutes twice a day. So you say the mantra over and over in your head, and if your mind goes in other places, you gently bring your mind back to the mantra over. And the mantra it's not English. It doesn't mean anything. I don't even know. I'm not supposed to say my mantra.
I know, it's like top secret.
But I mean, it's not as mystical as like everybody makes it, and that kind of thing. But it does, it does. I'll say this: is I had really high blood pressure. Blood pressure is, and that's what one of the side effects, good side effects. There's all good side effects. Blood pressure is down back to normal now.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I wasn't doing it for a while, and my blood pressure was high. And then he's like, there's a book called 10% Happier that I read. I forgot the guy who wrote it. He's a reporter, but basically he went and studied like all like.
Oh, I did. I saw he was being interviewed on one of the podcasts that I listened to.
I think it's Bill or something. I just
Did
forgot
he have the anxiety attack online on
yeah,
live on the show?
Panic attack online. He had a panic attack online, which I have panic attacks too. I think it's like a rite of passage or something.
I had a panic. Yeah, I did too. I was suffering from, like I said, I think earlier last year was when I kind of found myself in that funk, having anxiety and having panic attacks, which I didn't know what they were. But if anybody wants to know, you can never die from a panic attack, if that makes you feel any better. Although it feels like you are, you can't die from a panic attack. But yeah, same. And then I really kicked into my gear of self-care and putting positive messages in, because you're going down, man. The forces of this world will really take you down. It's like, what are you doing to pick yourself up? So
yeah, even this video, this is great. See how many people like tune into this video because people wanted the fast thing. Oh, look what, Kim Kardashian's sister's doing or wearing or whatever. Like, unfortunately, we're so, as a society, like we're just so like we want to get the bad news.
yeah,
The gritty bad news. People don't want to see stuff that's not like topical and flying at you and things like this where you have to actually sit down and listen for 45 minutes or something like that. Where
I know.
They just want the flashy.
Yeah, it's addictive. It's addictive, that drama. It's everyone has like a high, I think we've gotten to a place where there's like a high baseline of drama. And if it doesn't reach that threshold, and it just keeps getting higher with anything, it's like you get to a point where it's so perverse. It's like so unnatural. And what are we okay with? What are we accepting now as not only just entertainment, but news? Like,
I'm curious as to like what the news stations are going to do now that Trump's not in office.
I pray.
What are they going to do? Like, what are they going to report him on Twitter?
I really hope that we all, I don't know. I've lost a lot of faith in, because I love journalists. I love journalists. And I remember I studied journalism. I walked into a class when I was like taking an elective. And the first thing they said was, if it bleeds, it leads. I walked out of that room so fast. I was like, what? That was like the creed and behind the scenes. Like, if it bleeds, it leads. Only the drama, only the blood gets the top news story. And I'm like, okay, I'm not in alignment with that. I'm leaving. Like, I can't do that. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens, but that's wonderful. And then you said you run too?
I've been running every day since I moved. I moved, like I said, I was living on Beechwood and it was just kind of crazy. They were doing, so just so you know what Beechwood Drive is, when you're driving up to the Hollywood sign and you see that, I think Ellen uses it as the backdrop. That's the street that I lived on, which is a beautiful street. But there was so much going on. Like there was a new owner at the building and they were trying to make it an investment property now. And there was a earthquake proof. So banging on the walls, there was vagrants running around in Hollywood, Hollywood. It was just, there was people stealing my mail. It just got, and this is a pretty nice area. But it just got so like bad. I had to take myself out of that environment and bring myself here to the valley where I'm just like, sometimes you just got to get out of the environment. Sometimes you got to move, sometimes there's a roommate or a parent or somebody or people constantly working on your place that you're like, I got to go. I got to figure this out because, happiness is an inside job. But there is a lot of some external stuff that could make things tough for you.
It's the chaos. And that's what my point was, is the world of chaos is always swirling. So don't add to anything. You don't need to go look for it. It's like, get rid of anything you possibly can. If you have to move out, get out of a relationship, whatever it is, you know, the time is now. Your peace isn't going to come in the future, and life's short, man. You don't know how much time you have. And it's like, live now. And just, I have to remind myself of that every day, because we can get so like, it's not going to happen to me. I'm good. I'm special.
Yeah.
I'm special, Jeremy. I'm not going to die. Yeah, right.
Yeah. One thing that I see in, the one thing that I see in LA and being an actor in LA is like, you could wake up 20 years and you're sitting by the pool. You're still sitting by the pool looking for a suntan and you didn't get anything done. I see it happen all the time. I see it happen to friends. I've seen people just stuck.
Yeah.
Or they'll stay in this business and they'll say, oh, I'm an actor. And it's like, at some point, you're not. You don't really like it. You don't really you're stuck. So I tell people this all the time. If you're going through a long period of time where you really don't like what you're doing and you don't love what you're doing, it's okay to throw in a towel and try something new. There's so many people who will just lose, and I don't mean to say lose because life is an experience, but like they'll go on this 10, 15-year thing, but they're not really doing it. And they're kind of walking around just with the title of actor for society or whatever. And unfortunately, they stop their whole life for 15 years and then realize, oh shit, I got to do something else.
Yeah. Well, because they think there's only one way. And I talked about this in my other episode. It's like people I don't know, for me, that was what surrounded me. Like, don't have a plan B because that means you're giving up. But it's like, okay, yes, have a plan B, C, D, E, F, all the plans. Just don't have a goal B. Don't have a dream B. Like, if your dream is to be of influence and to speak and express yourself, that can come in so many ways and you never know how it's going to come. So don't be afraid to try something new. For me, I went back to grad school, but look at me. Look at me now. I'm using my background in film and TV, and I still want to entertain and perform and do all this stuff. So you never know how it's all going to come together. So don't be afraid to follow those little whispers of different things that take you away. Don't be afraid, because if it's yours, it's meant to be yours. It will be. Don't worry. If you have that much faith in your success in life, don't be afraid if you have to take a road less traveled that other people aren't on.
Absolutely, because I even come from that school of, and I subscribe to it. Like, it was just the culture of what we were doing. Like, if you're an actor, you have to be an actor and you have to suffer and you can't. And it's all I said this. I say this aloud now. It's all bullshit. You don't have to suffer. You can find something else that you want to do with your life. My veins are popping. I see my veins are popping.
The Hulk is coming out.
Other stuff that you want to do. I mean, I own a restaurant. I have my showcase. I have acting. I have property, and I have different things that I'm doing with my life.
You got to feed yourself, fulfill yourself.
Yeah, it's not just actor, you know what I mean? So there's other things that you can go and do. And when you have other things going on, you become even more of an interesting person.
Exactly.
I know a woman who's a friend, Perry. She's a nurse too. She's a nurse because she didn't want to be broke. So she's a nurse and an actress.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Great. She's doing great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could talk to you forever, but you've been so generous with your time already. We've gone way over, so I appreciate it. So when you do ever get back on social media, your accounts are still up though, right?
Yeah, I'll share it.
Yeah. What's your IG and Facebook and Twitter and all that?
I'm at Jeremy Luke 323.
Okay.
But you can, if you just type in my name, you'll see. I'll come up.
Yeah. And I'll share all the links below too. And so I know your showcases, you vet for the good ones. So if anybody is interested, you can, I think probably direct message you for any information.
You can DM me. Yeah. You can DM me.
DM, is that what the lingo is?
You don't know what the...
I do.
You're like so new to it.
I'm just not used to it yet. Okay. You can DM him for more.
Slide in my DMs.
Oh my God. Yeah. Slide up in his DMs. Hella have him help you out. Yeah. So yeah. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Karla, thanks so much.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation. I sure did. I always love talking to Jeremy. If you want to share this with anybody, please do send it off. The more engagement, likes, follows that I get, the more guests I can have on this show to have great conversations with. So thank you so much again for all your support. I'll see you guys next time.